Roger, sir. You're under arrest. Hey, get back here. Ow! Oh no! Bing, bing! Sega, please make a full-fledged Sonic cartoon with that art style. Hello everyone, Armadillo the Violet Wizard here. And tonight I'm shaking things up from our usual Emerald streams by jumping into one of my all-time favorite games, Sonic Mania. Seriously, when this game was first announced like several years ago, I was just so ecstatic because I have a long history of loving the blue blur in his games, and this game is just right up my alley. One of the best of all time. So right here going into the menu, you got a lot of options here, but we're not going to worry about all these for now. Just note that for this playthrough, we are mainly jumping into Mania mode. As you can see there, I do have a file that I was practicing the game with just so I could get accustomed to the controls, because I didn't actually own the PC version of this game until a few days ago. I mainly played the Switch version. But yeah, this is just a very fun game, and I'm very excited to jump into this. So right from the get-go, you have some very good options in terms of your player characters. You can be Sonic together with Tails, you can be just Sonic, just Tails, or just Knuckles. For my first stream playthrough, I felt it'd be nice just to reunite the Sonic 2 duo. Because, why not? It's just a very classic pairing, and we may be able to get to see some good use out of their cooperation as we go through this stream. With that said, let us start a new adventure. Right off the bat, just a very familiar opening if you're at all familiar with Sonic 3. What's this? Ooh, that looks shiny. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Well, those egg robots just got an upgrade. Welcome to the first zone of the game, Green Hill Zone, lifted very faithfully from the original Sonic the Hedgehog. This area is just your standard first area when it comes to Sonic games. Very basic, not a whole lot of gimmicks to it, just get through it as fast as you can, but there's a lot of different secrets you're able to find in these areas. Of course, you got a bunch of classic enemies here, between Moto Bugs and Buzz Bombers. Right there's a goalpost. If you hit one of these things, then you'll be able to continue after you die. But another cool thing about these goalposts is that if you manage to hit one when you have a certain amount of rings, which is basically like Sonic's health in this thing, you're able to access a special minigame mode. This is Blue Spheres. Your goal in this is to try to get through these stages by collecting all of the blue spheres. When you hit them, they turn red, and if you hit a red sphere, you will be knocked out of this minigame. So yeah, it is quite the interesting little event. Of course, I've done a lot of these different blue sphere challenges in my practice files, so I'm going to be facing a lot of these things that I struggled with in my earlier playthrough of this. Of course, hitting those gray ones acts a bumper and will knock you back. Yeah, so if ever I'm doing one of these, I'm gonna mainly try to be very focused and not talk a lot, because it requires a lot of concentration to get through these in one piece. So when you're playing Blue Spheres, there is two goals to this game. If you simply turn all of the blue spheres red, then you receive a silver medal for completing it. But if you manage to get all the rings and hit all all of the blue spheres to make them red, then you receive a very special gold medal. And of course, these are good for unlocking certain different... I was doing pretty good there until I just got mixed up. But yeah, those medals are the basic way you're able to access certain extra modes in the game. And just going through here, there's just so much to love about just Mania's overall controls. Like, this is just classic Sonic refined so goddamn well. Like, pretty much everything you could do back in the classic Sonic games is here. You have your traditional jumping, and you've got the spin dash, which allows you to just build up speed very easily to get past certain obstacles. Just such a good time. It's actually some of my favorite controls of any Sonic game. This game is just amazing. It took out a crab meat there. That's another classic enemy from the original game. Yeah, a key theme about this, well, we're gonna have to drop that for now because we're entering a special stage. So by finding certain hidden rings throughout the various levels of this game, you enter a special stage. This is where you obtain the Chaos Emeralds, one of our major MacGuffins we're going to be collecting throughout this game. And the special stage in this game, I really like. It's kind of a blend of all the previous special stages throughout the Sonic series, where you're trying to get through it, you're collecting rings, you're of course collecting the blue spheres, like in that one mini-game, and you're racing through a 3D plane kind of like Sonic CD. Yeah, it just combines a lot of different motifs from the various special stages throughout the series, and I really like that about this. Just a very fun way of getting through things, and with that we got our first Chaos Emerald. There are 7 of these things in total, and you'll definitely want to get all 7 of them before the end of this game, because they unlock something very, very worth your time. Ow. Of course, when you get hit, you will lose all the rings that you have collected throughout the level, which can be a pain. There are some ways around this, but pretty much anytime you get hit, there goes your rings. And we got ourselves our first boss. So every zone in this game has a boss you'll be fighting. And between the 2 zones, that of course means between the 2 acts, there's 1 boss each. And for the most part, the boss fights in this game aren't too bad. Here we're kind of having like a remix version of the Wrecking Ball boss from the very first Sonic game. And yeah, it's kind of nice you got these 2 different hazards just kind of swinging at you pendulum style. With that, we move on to Green Hill Zone Act 2. This stage is definitely a little bit more technical than previous Act 1. Typically, the Act 2s will offer up different challenges compared to the first act of that zone. And of course, throughout the stages, you will encounter monitors, which usually hold good things in you, such as getting rings, or in this case, invincibility. As long as I have these sparkles around us, now we will be able to be immune from practically all hazards except for crushing damage, which is very good. I guess something I could try in this playthrough is I'm going to try at least 1 round of blue spheres per act to see if I can actually get some of these, because, yeah, going for the medals is definitely a good thing to do, because they offer a lot of nice rewards if you can get them. Oh, that was bad. Maybe I can save this. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, this is actually one of the harder blue sphere stages, I want to say, because it can definitely be really tricky, because you have to hop into these squares just to grab the rings. And, alright, and of course you just want to be very careful. So, the yellow spheres, we haven't been introduced to these yet. These will launch you a certain distance ahead, and they can be quite annoying if you are not prepared for them. Alright, we got all the rings, so all we have to do now is hit all the blue spheres, and we're good. And of course, the more you run in these stages, the faster your speed increases. So you have to be really careful to get through these stages without... Oh! I missed one! That's a pain. Yeah. So remember those spiky pillars from original Sonic 1? Now here's a very nice power-up. So, ow. And I immediately lose it. Ow. So, yeah, I'll go into those things if I manage to run into another one. But yeah, those are good and something you'll definitely want to watch out for. Your spin dash, of course, is good for not just breaking... it's not good just for building up speed, but you can also use it to break through certain obstacles, which is very nice. Just very soon I want to go into something specifically about our current team here. So if you hold up and jump, you can actually get Tails to carry you, which is very nice. It's definitely a good way of incentivizing bringing Tails along with you. Of course, he will tire out eventually, so you don't want to abuse him too much. But yeah, it's nice that your buddy here actually has something he can do besides just following along. So back in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, Tails is typically the second player character, while the first player gets control of Sonic. And yeah, I would play this game a lot with my brothers. Especially my younger brother, who would almost always be Tails while I played Sonic. Yeah, we just really loved these games when we were young. So going a little bit into my personal history with Sonic, this is a franchise that I have spent a lot of time playing. So right there is a very good power-up. That is a shield. If you hit this, you will not lose rings when you get damaged, but it will go away once you take a hit, so just be wary of that. Of course, you can also hit springs in order to gain a boost of speed. I kind of want to see what's over here, because we are just almost at the end of Green Hill. Yeah, this is a very short zone, especially compared to what we got ahead of us. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with getting one of the special rings. So hit that goalpost, and we're already at our second boss. And it just so happens to be the final boss of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Meet the Death Egg Robot. This thing can definitely be a pain. And of course, it is piloted by Sonic's main arch nemesis, Dr. Eggman. He's the one responsible for building all of the robots that have been attacking us throughout this level. And yeah, he is definitely out for blood. Alright, to do enough damage to the robot, it will start speeding up. You can also fire bombs along with hitting those rings, but we managed to take him out. Yeah, this thing is nowhere near as difficult as it was back in the original Sonic 2. That boss is just insane. But yeah, with that, we are done with Green Hill already. Again, it's the first level, so of course it'll be very easy. So it seems like Eggman and his Egg Robos are harnessing the power of this mysterious gem for their own devices. And we get teleported to another classic area. Chemical Plant Zone. One of my personal favorite areas from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This place is great. Especially the remix version of this area in this game. It's just a fantastic recreation of the original chemical plant. It's a shame we weren't able to, like, get a boost of speed, because I think there's some good stuff if we could rocket up there. That's fine. But yeah, kind of going into the story of this game a bit, because, yeah, there is one, go figure. So, Eggman and his forces are harnessing the power of this mysterious gem called the Phantom Ruby in order to use its power to try and conquer the world and stuff. And of course, Sonic and his friends are trying to stop him. It's a very simple story, but what else could you expect from a game based around this area? So kind of going a bit more into Mania, this game is meant to evoke the feel of the Genesis-era Sonic games, and I think they do it just masterfully. Like, this is a really good recreation of the original levels from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just amazing what they were able to pull off. And, like, to see this much quality from an official Sonic game, especially in this day and age, is just incredible. Especially one that's meant to evoke the feeling of these old games. Now, something that I'd really like to say here, normally you would want to go up here, but I highly recommend taking the low path here, because there is another special stage ring. Alright, now, this special stage is a lot harder than the first one, and I expect this will tend to be the special stage where you fail at the most. So kind of going more into the special stages, your goal, of course, is to catch up to the Emerald, and you do so by collecting the blue spheres in order to increase your speed. As you can see, collecting the blue spheres, we got from Mach 1 to Mach 2. The highest speed you can get is Mach 3, and you just blaze through these areas super quickly in Mach 3. However, you also have a time limit going through these areas as you try to catch up to the emeralds, and you extend your timer by gathering rings. So yeah, it's just kind of a nice way of blending all of these different Sonic elements together to make an interesting stage. And I quite like it. These are very good special stages. And we got our second Chaos Emerald. Although, it looks more like a topaz to me. Just saying. Aw, man, I can't get enough of this game, man. Like, it is so good. And I was just playing this game earlier today just so that I could... Ow. Yeah. Definitely avoid getting crushed. That's not good. But yeah, as I was saying, I was just playing this game earlier today so I could finish up my practice file. Oh, and kind of get some practice on some of the later stages in this game, and like, I know this game is still very new and fresh in everyone's mind, but it's just so amazing just how much this game has aged masterfully over time. It still looks really good, it plays just so solidly. Just an absolutely fantastic time. I just cannot get enough of replaying this game. And of course, as you can tell from the music, this area has some very funky tunes. All composed by the wonderful T-Lopes. He put such good work into the soundtrack, I cannot get enough of it. So another aspect of blue spheres that I haven't talked about here is that when you're going through these stages, you'll want to, if you see an arrangement of spheres where they're kind of arranged in a square shape with a few of the blue spheres and red spheres, you'll want to hit them so that you can close off a box of spheres with the red ones, because what I'm trying to say here. Because if you manage to box them in, any blue spheres trapped in that box will immediately convert into red spheres, earning you some... And when you fill in a box like that, you will have all of the, shit, what am I trying to say here? When you do that, all the remaining spheres will turn into rings, and this is your main way of trying to get to perfect the stages, trying to make sure you hit every... Oh, that was close. I'm gonna be... No! Help! Oh! Okay, yeah, I'm definitely out of practice with some of these stages, and unfortunately I beat quite a few of the easy ones in my practice file. So, yeah, we're definitely gonna have a hard time getting through some of these. I do want to show off what getting the medal is like, if we can, in this stream. But yeah, we got another mid-boss here. This guy isn't too bad, just kind of watch out because he will lob those chemicals at you, but you can take him out pretty easily. So as you can see here, when you beat typically when you beat the mid-boss of whatever or act you're in, you kind of have this moment where a goalpost just drops down and you can kind of juggle in the air. If you get it to land a certain spot, it will trigger it can sometimes uncover a monitor which houses some good stuff in it. But yeah, I don't have those locations memorized here. But now, jumping into Act 2 of Chemical Plant, things have really changed up here. So, this act borrows a lot of elements from a level in Sonic CD called Wacky Workbench, where it has a lot of springy floors made up of chemicals, and by meddling with the chemicals, you're able to just spring super far into this area. And yeah, a lot of this stage is just trying to bounce around with the chemicals and see where you're able to get up. It's a very cool idea of blending these elements together. And yeah, I can't get enough of this. Yeah, it's a shame I wasn't able to get up there, but it's alright. So yeah, kind of going back into my personal history with Sonic, I have been aware of the blue blur in his adventures for quite some time, but funnily enough, the first game I ever played in the Sonic series was Sonic R, the racing game that's just kind of an awkward game that most people wouldn't really consider a main Sonic game. But of course, the first actual Sonic game I played, just break out of there, buddy. Yeah, the first actual Sonic game I played was, of course, Sonic 2, and just what a fantastic game to start with. I cannot get enough of Sonic 2. I still feel it is one of the best games in the series. Now, some people would say it has its issues, and I can kind of agree with that, but and it's still fun all the time. Of course, one of the power-ups you can get is Speed Shoes. These greatly increase your movement speed, and yeah. In a game that's already based in a lot around speed, that is a very nice thing to collect. I think around here there's a secret we definitely want to get to, maybe. There's something around here, I know. Yeah, you hit those blocks, they drop down, and I think over here... Just want to be very careful not to get crushed here. Because I remember there's something good in this area. Yep, if you head over this way, there is another special zone ring. So we're already on to our third special stage. So in my practice file, I was only able to get 4 of the Chaos Emeralds, because, yeah, I'm dumb. I'm not able to really do these too well. Some of the later ones can be really tough. But, you know, just something you gotta struggle through. But, yeah, besides the Sonic games, there's also been a lot of other Sonic media that I was really into. Namely for cartoons, like the first of those I saw back in the day was Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I like to catch it a bunch on Disney. even though it came in kind of late in the day, but still used to watch it whenever I can. And like, obviously that show has not aged the best. Like, the animation is very rough, the characterizations are very simple. But I mean, have you seen all the YouTube poops that utilize scenes from that cartoon? Like, it's obviously stuck around with a lot of people, just because they like a lot of the zaniness with it. So yeah, I didn't really get to see a lot of the other Sonic cartoon at the time, Sonic X.AM, but with that we got our third Chaos Emerald. Along with that, I did see a little bit of Sonic X, that Sonic anime from the mid-2000s. It's not really the best. Like, even as a kid, I kind of thought, like, wow, is this really what the Sonic anime is? Wow, and just like that, I'm accidentally getting knocked into another blue sphere. Alright, I remember this one being interesting to get through. So I'm gonna be very careful here. One thing I want to note about blue spheres is that it can be very easy to get disoriented and not remember your place here. Of course, the boards do rotate, so that if you're able to, like, memorize your path, it can be pretty easy to, you know, realize where you have been before. Yeah, it's just kind of awkward to get through these areas sometimes. Trying to think here, where else do we want to go? Okay, I think I want to head over this. Yeah, this stage in particular can be a little tough because it has a lot of rings you need to get here and only a few blue spheres. So, yeah, you definitely want to be careful. Alright, I was able to get those ones pretty nice. Got these. Good. Let's see. Alright, I see that one, so we'll head over this way. Definitely gets hectic once you've been in here long enough for things to really speed up. Definitely gotta be careful when going for these stages. Alright, let's look over this way. Oh! Okay, I'm not going to get all of the... Yeah, sadly I wasn't able to get all the rings, although I easily could have. But yeah, for getting all the blue spheres in this stage, but not all the rings, you get the silver medal. Now, getting rings and the... going into this with one ring, that's fine. Yeah, and if you get all the rings and the blue spheres, you get the gold medal, which is the best. But, surprise boss fight! We're playing around a Puyo Puyo. Of course, this game is a reference to the Sega Genesis port of Puyo Puyo, which was called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Yeah, this game was actually themed around the Sonic cartoon. It was specifically about Robotnik and his cronies trying to harness the power of these Puyos, I believe they're called, as part of his evil plan. And you're trying to stop him. And yeah, this is a fun little callback to that game. Actually having a boss fight centered around playing Puyo Puyo in a main Sonic game is just so crazy of a concept, and I like it. Just a fun little reference. So for this fight, you're specifically trying to match up 4 Puyos of the same color, and if you can get combos, then you are able to send what are known as garbage Puyos on your opponent's side, which can block them from getting combos. And yeah, you're just trying to get through this and get as many good combos as you can to thwart your enemies. Alright, I'm in a good position here. Oh, that should just totally dominate Eggman. Look at that. And I got an achievement from that, too. See ya, Egghead. One thing I'll never tire of is just the overall attitude with these characters. Like, Sonic's a fun character, all things considered. Very sassy, very in-your-face, has a lot of attitude. I just love him. But now, welcome to Studiopolis, the first of the completely original stages in Sonic Mania. Yeah, this game is not just remixed versions of a lot of classic stages. We have some original areas to it. And Studiopolis, just from when this was first revealed back in the day, just, my god, this stage is amazing. It's got this whole area, which is basically a city slash broadcasting station for Eggman and his forces. And yeah, this area is just very awesome visually. I love the way this place looks so much. Easily one of the coolest stages visually within the series. And of course, the music here is just good. Just listen. Can anyone hate music this funky? It's so amazing. It just really adds to the presentation of this area. Also, there's something I didn't expect to get a reference in a mainline Sonic game. The frickin' popcorn maker of all things. Also, I just like this graphic up here of ragtime Eggman dancing. That is so cute, god damn it. Again, all these little touches, like, you can tell that the developers of this game really love the Sonic series and knew what they were doing with adapting all of these stages and creating revamped ones and completely original concepts for this series. Just want to look up here briefly. Yep, because there's a special ring. There's actually one that I didn't get in my practice playthrough. Alright, I remember this special stage giving me a lot of trouble in my practice run. It's definitely an odd placement of those bombless pits that can give you trouble. Yeah, it's definitely one of those stages that can be a pain to deal with, but for the most part we should be good. Also, yeah, you'll definitely want to avoid those spiky balls and those mines, because they will, of course, they will stall you and will also take away rings, shortening your time limit. Which can be a hassle, especially with some of the later stages when they increase the amount of hazards within the stage. Yeah, with this, we should be pretty good to get the Emerald if we can, and grab the Mach 3, we'll definitely have enough speed to catch this thing. Because yeah, as you go through and things start getting more elaborate, you'll definitely want to try to take as many shortcuts as you can, jumping at the right time, taking different pathways so that you'll easily be able to catch up to the Emerald and grab it. Alright, we should have this in the bag. Now, really didn't want to hit that mine. Alright, we got it. This one was a pain for me to get in my practice playthrough. Very glad I was able to pick it up here. And with that, we already have 4 out of the 3 emeralds, and we're only in the 3rd zone. I don't know how well we're going to do in the other special zones, but I'm very glad I was able to get this much at this point. Because, yeah, there's something very good we're able to access if we are able to get all of the... Oh, damn it! I saw that! I saw that! Ugh. Problem is, I don't think there's a way I can access it down here. Yeah, we're just gonna have to deal. I saw that special ring, and... There's another invincibility, good. Alright. always like this, with this area being themed around television and movie studios. And they just really go with this, with like the scenery and stuff. You got the monitors all over the place, those director chairs you can boost up. But with that, we're at the boss of Studiopolis Act 1. So this is one of the egg robos we met earlier. But this guy is the Heavy Cop. He'll just be shooting missiles at us from his attack chopper and want to try to hit the missiles back at him and his cronies. Also, the music during the fights against the egg robos is so good. The song is called Hard Boiled Heavies, and yeah, it's just such a great track. I want to say this is actually one of my favorite bosses in this game. I just love the presentation of it. How you're running along this road and trying to just avoid hitting some of these missiles while hitting the right ones back at them. Ow! Unfortunately, I was unable to avoid that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to redo that fight, but that's okay because I really love this battle and I can't get enough of it. So remember this, the guy that was shooting us in the animated intro. So the intro to this game, like the main guy behind that animation is called Tyson Hess, and he is definitely very well known in the Sonic community as an artist, because he's been responsible for a lot of things. So, you know that one fan comic about Sonic, you know, the one with the infamous nipples, the enchilada thing? Yeah, he was the artist behind that comic, and he got hired in by Sega to actually provide art for some of the Sonic the Hedgehog comics, and eventually he managed to make it as an actual art director for some of the shorts, especially the introduction of this game, as well as a lot of different Sonic shorts that you can find on like the Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel. Definitely recommend checking them out because they're really great cartoons. And just, he has a great art style and manages to perfectly capture the overall attitude and mood of Sonic and his universe perfectly. And in fact, he was brought on in order to do the revamped design for Sonic in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and thank Arceus he did, because the original design for Sonic in that movie was so terrible. But yeah, with that, we managed to take out the Heavy Cop. And that ends Studiopolis Act 1. Definitely one of the best zones in this game. Cannot get enough of this level. So Act 2 is Studiopolis. We're actually heading inside Eggman's broadcasting station here. We were outside of the city during Act 1, and Act 2 has us inside Eggman's base of operations. So, you know, it's very great the way they connect these different areas together. So I want to be careful with these guys, because they will spin their orbs, and when they do, of course, will deal a lot of damage to you. Definitely avoid that. But yeah, if you're familiar with some of the previous Sonic aesthetics when it comes to their stages, especially the typical little casino-themed areas, this act will be familiar to you in a lot of ways. There's definitely a few areas that bring those kind of concepts to mind. Of course, you got these bumpers here based on the typical ping-pong things. There's another such bumper there, and we'll see some other casino-themed stuff very soon. We zoom up there, and by hitting that movie reel, we head that way. this way. Wow. I'm just trying to get through here, people. Yeah, some of the levels can really push you around. Sometimes you can get lost. Okay, that's the way I had to go. Sorry. And I like these sections where you just kind of transform into energy and are... I really didn't want to hit that light there because I kind of screwed myself out of something. But yeah, going into this power-up we got... So there are special kind of shields that you are able to obtain in this game that give you different elemental properties. This is the bubble shield, and this thing will help us deal with will help us deal with a certain hazard that will be introduced to later on in this game. But you can use it by pressing the jump button again in order to bounce and give yourself some extra height with things. So that's very good. I remember this area being no bueno for me. There's a lot of spears you have to deal with and a lot of rings to try and get. See, I'm just trying to, fill in the perimeter of that box so that we turn all of those spears into rings. That is your main goal when doing the blue sphere levels. So the blue sphere minigame itself was first introduced in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This may sound blasphemous, but as a kid, I never actually played Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I did have a Genesis. I had Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3D Blast, oddly enough. Which, I don't hear people talk positively about that one, but I liked it when I was a kid. But for whatever reason, we didn't have Sonic the Hedgehog 3, or Sonic and Knuckles for that matter. This one's gonna be rough, because I don't know where the next ones are gonna be. Oh, there we go. Don't know if I'm gonna get the rings here. Yeah, we didn't get the rings. But at least we got another medal, even if it is a silver one. So actually, check the medals I got, and I've gotten before starting this run, I got exactly half of the total medallions in order to unlock everything, which is neat. But yeah, it is nice I'm getting a few of these things, because they do unlock some good stuff for you if you manage to push through and get them. Okay, can we just... This little part with these springy balls can be a little awkward to deal with in this stage. I do really like Studiopolis, but it has a few weird design elements to it. Like those slug guys. What even are they? Shane wasn't able to get up there because he can get some good stuff. Oh, and we missed his shield. That's good too. But yeah, going a little bit into my history with Sonic. So, besides, the Genesis was really the only Sega console I had, so I wasn't really familiar at all with Sonic's later games, especially Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. But those games are on Steam now, so I could probably get through them eventually. I am actually thinking of streaming Sonic Adventure at some point. But yeah, we just completely blazed through that boss fight. It's pretty cool how it's a weather-themed boss fight, and you're trying to avoid certain hazards based on weather there, but yeah, definitely not that complicated. I was able to get through there very easily. Awesome music time! Flying Battery Zone. This is our first stage based on Sonic and Knuckles. And just overall, this stage is great. I just think what they do for this stage in Sonic Mania is super amazing. It's easily one of my favorite stages in this whole game. And of course, the music plays a big role in that. It's just a tremendously amazing song. Cannot get enough of Flying Battery. So one thing I actually want to do is go over this way to knock down that shield. So this is the Fire Shield. This thing allows you to do a dash attack if you hit the jump button in midair, and it will also protect you from all fire hazards. So you know those jets of fire that were shooting out of the things earlier? Yeah, those things cannot affect me at all as long as I have the Fire Shield. This is a very good thing to have. You can also use it to passively burn away certain obstacles, which can be very helpful. This thing will definitely be good in this area. Hit that goalpost there. Don't really care about a special stage right now. I mean, blue sphere right now. This area also has some other mini gimmicks to it. Like, here we're gonna grab this. This is the electric shield. When you have this, of course, you have the electric barrier. It also gives you a double jump if you hit the jump button in mid-air. And in certain areas, it also magnetizes you to whatever you're up against. I just want to hit this over here so we can grab those speed shoes. Ow. Unfortunately, yeah. Sadly, thunder does not protect you from fire. We got this cool session where we're jumping between the propeller blades. I do quite like this. This is a fun little thing. Ow. I knew there was something over there, just didn't know how I'd be able to access it. But yeah, a lot of this stage reminds me of a certain level in Rocket Knight Adventures, which was another Genesis game. And I don't know, it's just kind of neat to compare those two things, especially because it's all Sega-related stuff. Although Rocket Knight is technically a Konami game, but whatever. Get up here. We should be pretty close to finishing up this act, I want to say. Another thing I want to say, this is a big area. There is a lot to the Flying Battery, especially when we get to Act 2. Whoops, sorry there, Tails. Right, jump over there. Ow. Definitely want to grab this shield. So I'm able to get those rings, but that's fine. Great, I lost my thing again. Just want to be careful here. So I think those spiky pendulum things are based on an area from a Hazard and Spring Yard zone from Sonic 1. I don't know, I think they were also adapted in the original Flying Battery, but again, I never played that game, so I'm not familiar with that. I just want to over here to get that. And we're already at the next boss. Hey, nice schematics there, Eggman. I'm quite partial to spider designs. Yeah, we got ourselves a trash compactor here. One thing's for sure, we're gonna be a lot thinner. So our target right now is the magnet up there that's drawing in all these parts. should be good to hit that. Yeah, don't want to hit that thing when it's electrized, because that will damage you. Don't actually know if this can crush you. I've never actually had it do that. But yeah, that's another boss done. Quite simple, really. What a unique smell you've discovered. And time for more awesome music as we head on to Act 2. Seriously, I really can't decide which of these act themes I enjoy more. Like, whatever way you slice it, Act 1 and Act 2 of Flying Battery are just tremendously amazing songs. I can't get enough of them. So I think at this point I want to try and aim high, so let's wait for these things to drop down. Okay. Alright. Let's go up. Yeah, what's nice about the Sonic games is that a lot of instances, they are very non-linear. You're able to get through these areas in a lot of different pathways, and they offer up a lot of exploration. There's a lot of hidden stuff throughout these areas that definitely be worth your time. But this section of Flying Battery is very cool, because this area actually borrows a lot of elements from Wing Fortress Zone back in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And yeah, this area is great. Just wanna get over the fans here. And yeah, they even brought back one of the unique enemies from Wing Fortress, which is Cluck in this area. Which actually one of the enemies that inspired one of the characters in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. But yeah, this area is just great. Easily one of my favorite acts in this hour. It's really bad, don't want to lose my fire there, but whatever. As you can see there's a lot of goodies we can get over there, but you can only access them if you hit a certain number of switches. We'll getting into those eventually. But yeah, I just really love this act. They have you going in between like the exterior and the interior of this area, and it's just really good, especially if you manage to just build up the speed and just zoom through these areas. It's just so exhilarating. I love this area so much. Like, why not design a stage in Smash for this? Come on. It's very good I have the electric shield here, because the double jump is very useful in this area. Take that, Cluck. And yeah, it's also storming here. Just the atmosphere is so good in this area. Just really makes for a great set piece. Ow. Really don't want to do that, but yeah, we'll just leave that. Woo! Alright. It's a shame I don't have my... It's a shame I don't have my double jump there, because I know there's something good up there for me. Alright, we'll just leave that, because not much we can do about that. So I think this part... Just want to be careful to grab these. Hit that, and we jump up there. So I haven't really talked about it, but this game does have a life system. And of course, if you lose all your lives, you will get a game over, but it's not too bad, because this game will save your progress in terms of which zones you've reached. So if you lose all your lives, you'll simply have to restart at the beginning of the last zone you played. Not too punishing in that regard. I like when modern games are able to just deal with systems like lives and stuff in a good manner, where it's not too punishing if you screw up. Because definitely having to restart in the earlier games can be a pain with the amount of progress you can lose. And of course, building up lives in this game is not too much of a hassle. You do earn extra lives for every 100 rings you collect, and you can also find spare rings throughout the level, so you're definitely not hurting for lives in this game. Another thing that I really like about Sonic Mania, the difficulty in this game is very balanced. You don't have to worry too much about things getting too unfair for you. Alright, now this area is interesting because I didn't actually get to this part of Flying Battery in my practice playthrough. This was an area I completely skipped. And for good reason, it can be a little annoying to deal with. It's a shame I lost all those rings, just, man. Let's hit this. I'm sad. Let's hit that. Nope. Okay. At the very least, dying isn't too punishing. You always get sent back to the last checkpoint you managed to reach, and yeah. It's a shame I'm kind of out of practice with this section of Flying Battery. Because, yeah, completely skipped over this area in my practice run. There we go. Managed to get food that pretty easily. And there's some stuff there I missed, but that's okay. Yeah, this is a long stage, but I think we are pretty close to the end here. So move up there. Yep, we've already reached the boss. Say hello to Dr. Robotnik's niece, Eget. Just kidding. But it's just really fun to imagine like people looking at this specific boss sprite and thinking, you know, it kind of looks like there's a girl piloting this robot. But no, Eggman is just upside down piloting this giant spider robot. So this boss fight's pretty unique. You cannot damage this thing directly. Instead, you have to hit the bumper that it has for an abdomen into the into the spikes along the walls of this elevator shaft. Definitely a very unique boss, and it's nice to see them implement, like, the bumper mechanics into an actual boss fight. And not like something they do in, like, Carnival Night Zone back in Sonic 2. Yeah, this thing really isn't too bad of a boss. Kind of going into that egghead thing I was talking about earlier, just cool people interpreting like this sprite and just completely creating this fan-made character based on it. And I quite like that one design for egghead that they came up with. It's just really cool. I mean, yeah, it does kind of look like there's a little girl in there. Kind of reminds me a lot of... the design for Egghead overall kind of reminds me a lot of Polly Sparks from Jumpstart Adventure's Third Grade. Which, oh boy, that was a game I really liked playing when I was a kid. But yeah, with that, we are now done with Flying Battery. I just cannot get enough of this. Definitely one of my favorite areas in the game. And now we're moving on to another of my favorite areas. Press Garden is our second unique level to Sonic Mania. I really like the aesthetic of this place because we got like this old warehouse that's been turned into this newspaper printing facility where Eggman is basically printing anti-Sonic propaganda. That's just such a fun concept for an area. Like, not all of Eggman's facilities are just the generic robot factories and chemical plants. He also got these areas specifically meant to besmirch his arch enemy, and it's totally in character for Eggman, especially with the different interpretations of the character we've had over the years. And yeah, this area, it's great aesthetically. I really love the colors. They're all very cool and pleasant, and just the music in this area is also really good. It has this mystic quality to it that you wouldn't often see in these more industrial areas, but it's a very good theme. Alright, got another water shield there. That's nice, could definitely use the bounciness here. And the elemental shield can even break some of those crates. Okay, I'm thinking that there might be something over here with these. Okay, Tails, come here. Tails? Tails, get down here. Come here, boy. Alright. We're going exploring. Oh. Alright, Tails, get back here. Tails, come on. Oh my god, Tails. Come on. So I'm thinking there is something we can get over here by abusing these blocks. Man, abusing. What am I saying here? You know what, I'm gonna leave it. I don't want my curiosity to get too much of the best of me. Tails, where are you? Alright, buddy. Grab me! Grab me, you two-tailed mutant! Really? Get back here, buddy. Yeah, Tails can be a little unreliable here. Alright, that area, definitely want to be careful not to get crushed. Yeah, overall, just really love the aesthetic of this place. It's a great level. Oof. I didn't know what goodies they had up there that I potentially missed. Definitely want to avoid that. We should be pretty close to actually finishing up this air out. Really didn't want to lose that because I really like the double jump. As I think of this one, we have to spring up there, hit that. Alright, that takes care of that barrier. Very good. But yeah, I cannot get enough of the overall aesthetic of Press Garden. This is a great area. Ow. Jeebus. Please take this guy out. Ow! There we go, finally took him out. So I believe that is an enemy from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Of course, this game does bring back a lot of enemies, even for its unique areas, which I feel is still very nice. They managed to balance out a lot of the old and new elements, and even completely revamp a couple enemy concepts, as we'll see much later on in this adventure. Alright, we are very close to the end here, I'd wager. Tails, can we hit that? There we go. Is there anything over here? No? I wanna spring up on these. Can we get there? Oh, good. Alright, now that is a very special power-up. I don't know the official name of this thing, I'm just gonna call it the Power Ring. So this item will make it so that if you get damage, instead of dropping all of your rings in a group, it makes it so that your rings are only dropped in a... What am I trying to say here? Your rings will be grouped up into one super ring. Wow, I got an achievement for that. Cool. So yeah, your rings will be lobbed together into one big super ring that will allow you to collect a large amount of rings just on a single life, and it's very cool. So I believe the concept for this item came from a kind of not as well known game called Knuckles Chaotix. Yeah. Definitely when it comes to infamous Sonic games, that one gets brought up a lot. But we're already at the end of Act 1. Alright, I really like that. It's kind of a show don't tell about this particular boss. You'll use its saw blades to break out the crates and try to get to you, but as we saw, it has trouble breaking through the brown crates. You can use that in order to stun the robot and get in some good hits with it. Ow. It's a shame that had to happen, because Fire Shield's really good for getting hits in on this thing. Ow. There, see, we got a large group of rings clumped together. Ow. From that. Alright. Just hit that. Alright, Tails! Good work getting the finishing blow there, buddy. Now, is that snow, or is that ash? Or shredded newspaper? I don't know. But now welcome to where Press Garden really comes alive. Press Garden Act 2. This is easily one of my favorite acts in this game. Just, man, is it pretty. Like, the aesthetic of this place is so good. I mean, have this Japanese, garden, and just with all the different colors on the trees in contrast to the white and gray from the snow. Ow. I seriously got crushed by that. That's a pain. But yeah, this area is just so good aesthetically. I love this area. Also, I was frozen today! Yeah, getting hit by jets of ice will result in you getting iced yourself. So I want to be careful here. Try to hit that. There we go. So I definitely want that. Also, look at that. You can feed the trees into the wood chipper in order... Well... I guess it could kind of be considered a hazard or something, but yeah, that's just cool. I don't think we can get that. So I want to be careful here, because I know there's a special ring around here that I definitely want to be on the lookout for. Ow, that's a pit? I didn't know there were bottomless pits in this area. Really goes to show you learn something new with every playthrough. So I would really like to get to another special zone ring, if I can. But yeah, what's nice about the getting turned to ice block here is that you can actually use it to get through certain hazards, which is nice. Nice as ice. And yeah, a lot of this place just navigating through this area and trying to figure out where the... Okay, I remember this being about where the special zone ring is. I want to head over this way. Ow. And you see the trees up here? We'll want to take this path over here. And that is where we get to the special ring. Now this stage... This gave me some trouble in my practice run. And I'm hoping I can actually get through this. Yeah, this will be really tricky if we can't do this, because definitely a lot of hazards here. A lot of spiky balls. Rings can be a little awkward to get here. So just want to be very careful and making sure that you get everything you need. Alright. So the bubble with the arrow is good because that immediately bumps you into the next mock level. Which is good. That will allow me to catch up to this Chaos Emerald pretty easily. Actually making very good progress on this thing. If we can get to Mach 3, we could potentially have this even with the Mach 2, which is nice. I just want to get over this section. Let's try to build up the speed a bit more. Alright, we should be good to get the Chaos Emerald. Ow! What? Okay, that was weird. Alright. So right now is to catch up to that emerald. Hopefully I have enough rings for this. Want to be careful here. Ow! No! No! We ran out of rings. Yeah. That special stage is very challenging. They put a lot of hazards in there, and it can be very easy to lose control. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait until our next special ring to get that Chaos Emerald. Don't worry, Sonic, you're looking very cool today. So you can see there is a monitor with Eggman on it. That thing will automatically deal damage to you, so yeah, don't hit it. Failing to get through this area, we specifically need to hit a... Okay, so goal over here is to try and find another of those ice jets so that we can freeze ourselves and get through this area. Luckily there's one right here. I just love Sonic's face when he's frozen in the ice. That's a great sprite. Not in the mood for blue spheres right now. Just leave that, make our way through here. Really? I got crushed by that! I love this game, but damn, can some things be annoying. But yeah, overall, Press Guard in Act 2 is very good. Easily one of my favorite ice levels. If you can even call it that. Because they don't really lean too hard into the overall ice stuff. Besides you obviously getting frozen and that. But yeah, it's just a very pleasant level. Open aesthetic and its gameplay. I think there's something good for us if we completely lose that. I just have a feeling that we missed something up there good. It's alright, we're not missing out on too much here. Thanks for freezing me there. And we got ourselves our next boss. The Heavy Shinobi. Our next opponent. They will freeze you with their Ice Katana, which can be quite difficult to deal with. Of course, they can only use it when they're on the ground, so hit them when they're in mid-air in order to stun them, and then you can attack them. Of course, they will also throw these guys. If you're familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, these things are an enemy in Metropolis Zone called Asterons. And yeah, it's very cool that they're being used as shurikens in this boss fight. It's a great way to adapt a previous enemy with a new gimmick to them. And of course, the Egg Shinobi will throw out more Asterons as the fight progresses. We're almost done here. We just want to be careful here because one more hit and we're done. Okay. Yeah, this fight is a little tricky. It's not one of my favorites in the game, but I do love the overall aesthetic. And of course, with this area feeling very Japan-inspired, facing a ninja opponent here is very fitting. Alright, come on, you. Also, I'm not too familiar with the characters in this game too much, but I do think that I think the heavy shinobi identifies as female, which is quite cool to see one of Eggman's robots. Let's have that interpretation of themselves. And that takes care of that boss. That went much smoother on our second attempt. So if you thought levels at this point were already kind of tricky enough, you ain't seen nothing yet. Boy, is that a familiar sight. Welcome to Stardust Speedway, the first level based on Sonic CD. So for those that don't know, the Sega CD was one of the earlier Sega consoles, and this thing that's interesting. Not something I personally played myself, but it's an interesting system. Probably not as well known as like the Dreamcast or the Genesis, but still interesting. And of course, Sonic CD was one of the games included on that system, and it's an interesting game, kind of a you love it or hate it kind of game. But of course, it introduced some characters and concepts that I'm very thankful for introducing this series. I want to be careful here, because I think there can be some good stuff around here. It's got kind of a Donkey Kong on the barrel gimmick here, where you're trying to maneuver yourself in a certain way with these springs. And yeah, you want to be careful here. Another thing I like to say, I love the aesthetic of this place. Just Stardust Speedway is such an amazing area. Both in the original Sonic CD and, of course, in this adaptation here in Mania. So for those that don't know, and we'll probably go a little bit more into as the stage progresses, but Sonic CD had a time travel gimmick, and that extended a lot into the level progression, where accomplishing certain things in the game would change which levels you got to access later on in the game, which is fairly interesting. By hitting that capsule, we're able to get this vine to grow in order to access other sections of the level. Another understated thing about, I think I saw something over there I want. Okay, no, never mind. Let's just go. And hit that by mistake. I do like the floor here. It's bubblegum flavored. And of course, I have not beaten this stage yet, so it's probably going to give me some trouble. Yeah, let's see how it goes. So I'm not really expecting this to be too bad, depending on how things go here. Yep, gotta be careful. Yeah, those those bumper orbs can be tricky if you don't know how to deal with them right. Yeah, this is a very technical stage. We're constantly bouncing along on those bumpers, and you want to be very careful of where your path leads in this one. It's another thing with Blue Sphere that I'm kind of on the fence with. It's one of those stages that requires a lot of thought in order to progress through them, but at the same time, it's a stage that requires a lot of moments for you to just Blaze through it as fast as you can, which, based on the nature of these kind of stages, it can be really tricky to figure out where you're supposed to go next. And just kind of accurately plan ahead. I think for this part, I want to hit that. Yeah. Ah! I was one sphere away from beating that. That is so upsetting to me. Ah. And I got hit by that thing. Yay. But yeah, even having not had much experience with Sonic CD, I still really like this stage. Just the overall aesthetic is great. The music is just, if you can hear it, it's just so mesmerizing and just so heavenly. I love this music. Another interesting thing about Sonic CD, I would say, is that depending on what region the game is, it can have one of two different soundtracks. There's an American soundtrack and a Japanese soundtrack. Both are pretty good, but most fans will say that the Japanese soundtrack is the best one. And the music here is actually based on the Japanese soundtrack. But we got ourselves another boss, one of those little firefly bugs that we were encountering all throughout the level, this time in boss form. Just want to avoid getting hit by the little ones, and then hit the big one when it shows up. Pretty standard fight. Alright, this thing's almost done. Alright, what you got, buddy? Alright, the big one should be following up very soon. There we go. Took care of that guy pretty easily. So yeah, that was Act 1 of Stardust Speedway. And now we are going to travel through time into Act 2. And everything is different. Like, Act 1 had a very mystic-like temple feel. Now in Act 2, everything has been changed into this big, like, colorful cityscape and just... Oh man, I love the contrast between the two different acts. It really makes this area stand out. And yeah, this area is great. Just listen to this music. I can't get enough of it. This is just a really good level. And as we're going to see going forward, there is another reason I really like this act, but we'll get into it when we eventually get to it. I want to be careful here. I don't really remember too much where the special rings are here. But if we are careful... maybe we could find one, I don't know. These pillbug guys are a little annoying because when they're rolled up, you just bounce into them. I mean, it doesn't damage. Also, rockets here you can ride, which is a neat little thing. Yeah, this is a very good stage for just blasting through. Look at this! I think we're actually close to the end here. Yep, we're already at the end of this act. It's a shame I didn't get to a thing, the special ring. Well, look who that is. Another little Sonic CD callback. We saved the animals! Look who it is! Long time no see, Sonic, my loathsome copy. The boss of Act 2 is Metal Sonic, a recurring antagonist throughout the Sonic franchise. This thing is a robotic doppelganger of Sonic created by Dr. Eggman specifically to surpass Sonic in every way. Adding to that, this thing has a serious inferiority complex, where it thinks that it is the original Sonic and is trying to defeat its supposed duplicate, which is the real Sonic. Yeah, obviously this thing's one of my favorite villains throughout the Sonic series, and I especially love this guy in Sonic Heroes when he appears in that game, because he just steals the show so much. Yeah, this fight is pretty interesting. Here he's locked into this machine, which is spawning these little guys. So these are actually the incarnation of Metal Sonic from one of the Sonic Game Gear games. Specifically, I think those things are called Silver Sonic, but yeah, you just kind of hit them in order to knock them back into Metal Sonic to deal damage. And here, let me show you what I'm made of! This fight is getting even more intense. Metal Sonic has used the power of the Phantom Ruby to transform himself into a Titan. I believe the official name for this thing is Metal Sonic Kai. And yeah, this thing is very scary looking. It's actually based on the final boss of Knuckles Chaotix, another game where Metal Sonic appears in. And yeah, this thing is mean. It will attack with its laser attack. It also has those arms. And definitely want to watch out for the arms and attack its chest area when you can. Yeah, this fight is cool. I just really love it. And as a Metal Sonic fan, I just can't get enough of this. It's a very great way to portray this boss. But yeah, with that, we defeated our doppelganger. Hey! Just a tremendous boss fight to cap off one of my favorite areas of this game. Can't get enough of it. Ooh, what you got there, Eggman? Uh-oh. So now we're jumping back into Sonic 3 with Hydro City Zone. No, it's not pronounced Hydrocity. Can't believe that's still up for debate. But yeah, this is a very water-focused area, as you can tell from the name. One of the main hazards here in Hydro City is obviously water. Sonic cannot breathe underwater. If you stay down there too long, Sonic will eventually drown. You'll know this because there is a very infamous countdown song that plays when Sonic is low on oxygen. And we may hear some of that as we progress through this area. But yeah, Hydro City, this is another area I really liked in this game. Just think overall the presentation of this area is so good. I mean, just look at this place. It looks phenomenal. I love the color palette of this area. It's just a very awesome water area. And yeah, I know water levels are very infamous in the Sonic series, especially so in the classic games. But I feel like Hydro City, especially the Sonic Mania version, is one of the better examples of a water area. I just think they pull things off so well here. It's a tremendous step up from what you usually see in a water area. And we even got this little area where we're riding a little boat. That's cute. And of course, there are even sections where you can raise and lower the water level. Again, I really like this. Ow! Okay, I really did not want to lose my bubble shield there. That was a very good thing that I did not want to lose. And you even got these little hand things that can help. Okay, so that didn't really do anything for us. So I want to hit this lever here. Sonic. Alright. We'll pull this lever to raise the water level back up. And if we hit this, we enter the bubble. This is actually a reference to one of the Sonic Game Gear games. where they have you do a similar thing where you ride a bubble through certain levels. And yeah, they really do a good job of adding so many callbacks, especially to some of the more obscure Sonic games, because I don't know many people who have played the Game Gear Sonics. But just seeing reference to these specific games here is just really cool. They do a really good job of blending elements from so many different games into this. It just really makes Mania feel like a celebration of all things Sonic the Hedgehog. As a longtime fan of this series, I approve. It is just a tremendous game with what they were able to do. Yeah, we're making pretty good progress now for this place. Just want to be careful here. So I believe, yep, we'll hop into a bubble here. So be careful not to hit these enemies. That's the bad, obviously. And we'll ride the current up here. I want to see if there's anything in this area. I guess not. Alright, so we'll ride this boat over here, see what goes. I got an achievement for riding the boat. I did not know that was a thing. Ow. What the heck was that? Nah, whatever. But yeah, Hydro City, this area is amazing. Love the aesthetic, love the music. It is just so funky and awesome. I cannot get enough of this area. It is just too good. Can I get this up here? Tails? Tails, get back here, buddy. Hi. Tails? Alright, good. Wow, really? Yeah, sure, let's grab the shield. Alright, now let's ride our boat onward. Ow. Yeah, not all the hazards here are that great. As those sea snail-like enemies, they definitely get me a few times here. Which is weird, because they're one of the more cowardly enemies Eggman designs, because they specifically try to run away from you. Yeah, but you know Eggman, his inventions aren't always the best. I mean, just look at Scratch and Grounder. And Orbot and Cubot. Oh, speak of the devil, look at Eggman there. He's just kind of scuba diving right now. Wonder what he's up to. Excuse me, Doctor. Nah, we'll see more of him soon enough. But yeah, haven't really gone into it, but sometimes you'll notice areas where bubbles gather. If you inhale the big bubbles that appear there, that will refill your oxygen. So that's how you deal with those areas. What you doing there, Egghead? Planting bombs? Oh, wait, he's planting bombs! Uh-oh! So now we got a section where we have to get out of here and avoid being crushed by the walls. Speaking of Rocket Knight Adventures, this is another area that reminds me so much of a stage from that game. I mean, I know, they're all Genesis games, so of course they would have things that feel similar about them. But still. Right up here, and we should almost be done here. Alright, now this is a cool boss fight. So this thing is kind of a reverse of the Act 2 boss back in Sonic 3. Where instead of Eggman being up here and attacking us with jets of water, we're the ones piloting his machine and trying to suck him up in the turbine. It's a fun little bit of role reversal, I really like this. Of course you want to be careful not to suck up the mines along with Eggman, but this really isn't that complicated of a boss fight. Oh, want to be careful there. Yeah, this is just a very fun idea. Just turning Eggman's own inventions against him. It's so good. Now that I have the time to talk about it, Eggman is actually one of my favorite villains of all time, especially when it comes to video games. Namely with some of his more recent portrayals, because his current voice actor, Mike Pollock, does such good work as the Doctor in giving him a lot of personality and depth to him. He's definitely a very fun antagonist, and one of the most iconic in all the video games. But yeah, now we are on to Act 2, and again the music here is so good. It's a very similar case with Flying Battery, where I can't decide which act theme I like more. They're both very good. Hey buddy, I see you. Ow. Okay, I just spun in the wrong direction. Not so tough about your shell now, ain't ya? Alright, let's see what's up here. Yep, just another path. Yeah, I don't have the layouts of many of these places memorized, even though I did just play this stage today, so I do have a few things fresh in my mind. But the locations of certain special stages are things I'm kind of blanking on here. So probably not going to get to see every special ring during these playthroughs, but who knows, we may be able to get something. Alright, now I remember this part, I think, is something good for us. Maybe. I do remember this section with the gray blocks, and I think this can get us something good if we head this way. And I'm just trying to really think about what I remember from my previous playthrough. Okay, that's all? Alright. Might be another section with gray blocks that I'm thinking of. Who knows? So I think this... no. Okay. So kind of going a bit more into this like game's aesthetics. This game emulates a lot of the feel of the original Sonic Genesis games, especially in the visual department, because this game is entirely sprite-based, and they do such good work with the sprites. Like, as you can see in those little sections earlier where Sonic's sprite is rotating, just, man, it's so good. The visuals in this game are just tremendous. And just, all the areas feel very unique and distinct. Linked enemy and boss models are all good. Just, it's a very well put together game visually. And I don't really see too many visual glitches either, which is very nice. Just overall, a very good looking, although just a very good looking game that emulates a very nostalgic part of my video game playing career. And I am wondering if I'm actually able to get some of these special rings in this area. Oh boy, look at me jetting through these areas. I wonder. Hey Tails, could you fly me up? No, I don't think there's anything up there. Alright, thanks, buddy. You served me well, Tails. But with that, I think we're actually at the boss of Act 2 already. Yeah, this is a big area, but you can get through it pretty quickly, all things considered. Now, this is a pretty cool boss. We're being chased for the tunnel by Eggman, and there are these mines that we can activate and send back at him to damage him. It's a pretty cool boss, all things considered, even though this is only the first half. I do like the presentation of this, though. Just want to be careful to make sure that the bombs actually hit Eggman, because that's also how you get oxygen in these sections. Sadly, Tails is not going to benefit from too much. And just kind of the way things goes. Luckily, Tails does regenerate, so we don't have to worry about losing him. But yeah, he should be about done there. So that takes care of phase 2. Is it time for phase 2? So this boss is actually the mid-boss from Hydro City Act 1 in the original old Sonic 3. See, it's very cool how they kind of mix up the concepts of these bosses. We are facing a reverse version of the Act 2 boss of the original Hydro City in Act 1. And here we're fighting a remixed version of the Act 1 boss here in Act 2. Overall, just a very fun unfight there. And again, one of my favorite levels in this game. Hydro City, you get an A+ from me. Just fantastic. Now we're heading into an area I'm kind of mixed about. Hi, Knuckles. Bye, Knuckles. Don't worry, he's okay. Looks like our next opponent here is going to be the Heavy Magician. So here in Mirage Saloon, Act 1 in the Sonic playthrough has us going through a section that evokes the feeling of Sky Chase Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And as someone who's been a longtime fan of Sonic 2, I really appreciate this. It's a fun little idea. Just having this in the middle of our adventure. I mean, it can kind of feel a little out of place, but I don't know, I really like it still. Especially we're getting to see all these classic Sky Chase enemies. I mean, they're all remixed into being like very desert themed. Like these guys are cactuses, and we saw like coyote versions of some of the turtle enemies back from the original Sky Chase. But yeah, this area is interesting. It's not really my favorite act in the game, but it is still nice. Ooh, I will say be careful with spin dashing in this area, because it is very possible that you can just knock yourself completely off of the plane. Yeah, you only have a little bit of ground to work with, and if you get knocked off, that's it. Oh, Tails! Alright, we should almost be the end of this act, though. It is a very brief area. Also, I love this. All aboard the Eggman Express. Or Egg Express, I should say. And if you're wondering, where's the special ring in this level? There it is. It's got a little section here where we're just boarding the train, because of course there has to be a train level in the desert area. Alright, making our second attempt at Special Stage 5. Will we be able to get the Chaos Emerald here? Who frickin' knows? All I know is I want redemption. Just gonna grab the blue spheres, be very mindful of the hazards, and try to get as many rings as we can as we're going through this area. Because we definitely don't want to run out of rings like we did last time. It's not a good time when that happens. Alright, we'll grab some of the blues here. Sorry about the lack of commentary right now, but I'm just trying to concentrate on getting through this stage, because I don't like losing to certain challenges multiple times in a row. It gets very disheartening. And especially need to catch up to this thing. Alright, let's head this way. It's a shame I didn't hit the mock arrow. Ow! I took a bit of damage there, but that's fine. We still got plenty of rings. Definitely got to catch up to this thing. Alright, we're at Mach 3. Let's do this. Ow! No, we're almost out of rings! Shit! And I think there are 2 special stages after this. Don't worry. If we're unable to get all the Chaos Emeralds before the end of this area, by the end of this playthrough, I mean, there is a way we'll be able to get them and still be able to access the endgame stuff that's very good. Just want to say that because it is very nice if you're able to get all the Chaos Emeralds in a single run. But it's nothing we have to worry about too much, because there are definitely easy ways to get all the emeralds without needing to worry about getting them in one playthrough. Hey there, buddy. What you gonna do? So we got ourselves quite a boss here. A giant caterpillar that we're just kind of attacking while we're on the plane. Yeah, this thing is kind of awkward to fight. Its weak point is its head, obviously, and you just want to be... Yeah, it's kind of a small hitbox, considering how often this thing attacks you. A little annoying, but not the worst. Definitely one of the more awkward bosses in this game. Definitely not my favorite. Of course, you know what my favorite is. We just fought Metal Sonic earlier. This thing is also bringing to mind a lot of things with the sandworm from Beetlejuice. Which I guess another plus I can say about this thing. Also, considering what time it is, we're probably going to... After we're done with this zone, I mean, it's probably going to call it for this stream. But yeah, took out that boss pretty darn easily. Huh, I wonder what that goalpost managed to land onto. Oh look, it landed on his hat. Who the fuck are you? Mayday! Mayday! We're going down! Aw man, I didn't even get my complimentary peanuts! Mirage Saloon's Act 2 is a much more traditional level here, and yeah, I love the aesthetic of this place. Just a very nice Western-themed area, just a lot of fun little aesthetics to it. Anko, just listen to that music, it's just so pleasant. Alright, now I know the location of one of the special rings in this area, and I want to be careful to actually get to it. So I want to take one of the lower paths here. Yeah, this area is very nice. Definitely a very well put together desert area. Think about how things are. Yeah, I think we want to go over here. Ow. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I recognize this area. Alright. Let's grab this thing, because that'll be important. And we want to get up here onto the Setzer bottle. And zoom up there to get to the special ring. Alright, let's take another crack at a special zone Mark 5. I hope we can do better this time, because I've already lost twice at this thing. I don't want to lose again. Definitely want to build up our ring and our speed count as we get through here. Shouldn't be too bad going forward. Let's focus on our speed there. Should be pretty close to getting to Mach 2. Yeah, Yeah, this one is just pretty challenging because they put so many hazards in your way. And of course, some of the walls are springy and will knock you back, which is just kind of irritating. I grabbed a bunch of rings there, which is nice. If we can get to Mach 3, that'd be very handy here. Oh, I was close to getting that thing. That would have gotten us to Mach 3. But we should do pretty well. We got a good amount. I say that immediately get hit, but alright, we're at Mach 3. We should have a pretty good time getting to this Chaos Emerald now. Hope I don't jinx myself. As long as we take good use of the shortcuts, we should be good. Yeah, definitely want to take these pathways. Cut corners as much as you can to catch up to this thing. Very close now. We almost got this emerald. There we go! Only took 3 attempts, but we finally got it. That's a very nice looking diamond. Yes, I know they're emeralds, but it looks like a diamond. And that we only need 2 more Chaos Emeralds. Depending on how things go forward, we might actually be able to get the last remaining emeralds, but I don't know, it'll be kind of awkward depending on if we can actually find the things. So, going forward, I'll definitely need to focus on exploration over trying to beat these levels. Because getting to the next special rings is very important. I mean, it's not that major, but it would be nice to get all of them before the end of this playthrough. With that said, we are almost up to 2 hours, so we will be ending this session very soon. I like the return of those Rolly guys. They're actually from the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Kind of interesting enemies. Ow, buddy. Could you not? Kind of thinking of where I'm gonna go now. I mean, again, we don't need to finish this level here. Ooh, look at that. That was funky. Yeah, just really like the aesthetic of this place. It's not a level I find too memorable, because I definitely remember the architecture of the other levels a lot more than Mirage Saloon, but it is a nice area, all things considered. Okay, can we spring up here? Good. Ah, stupid bull. We should just be about at the end here. Yep. Alright, this fight is cool. So the heavy magician here is a master of shape-shifting, one of my absolute favorite powers. And it turns itself into seldom-seen Sonic characters from some of the more obscure games. Right there, it turned into Knack the Weasel, otherwise known as Fang the Sniper. And right there, it turned into Dean the Dynamite from Sonic Fighters. Another seldom-used character, but pretty interesting all things considered. And if we can get one more transformation there. And the last of the Heavy Magician's transformations is Bart the Polar Bear, also from Sonic Fighters. Yeah, it's very cool seeing these seldom-used classic characters being reused in a boss fight here. I think it's a very good idea. Especially considering the Unlike all the previous callbacks this game has done to other Sonic games, it seems only fitting that they would bring these guys back here in this boss fight. But with that, that's the end of the Heavy Magician. And with that, the end of the Mirage Saloon. Man, this was a very good session, all things considered. Now, I guess we can show off the ending of this area here. Zooming off to some very familiar territory. But we'll go more into this area in the next session. Luckily, the game saves your progress after you beat a stage, so don't have to worry too much about that. Alright, already we're doing much better in terms of Chaos Emeralds than my previous playthrough. Alright, so that's going to do it for Sonic Mania for now. Next time I jump into Sonic Mania, we will be moving forward with the game, trying to get the remaining emeralds, and progressing on with the few other levels that remain in the main story mode with Sonic and Tails. Until next time, have a good night, and stay fast!